Welcome to Power Fridays Live, the channel that aims to make a difference in the world through transformation, spiritual growth, and for entrepreneurs. Our vision is to empower individuals to live their lives with purpose and to make a positive impact on the world. We believe that power and purpose are the driving forces behind success and fulfillment in both personal and professional life. Through our broadcast, we discuss business strategies and techniques that can help entrepreneurs achieve their goals and take their business to the next level. We believe that through sharing knowledge and experience, we can empower each other to succeed and make a difference in the world. Now here's our host, Janel Pulley.
Hi, welcome to Power Fridays Live. I'm your host, Janel Pulley. I'm so excited to be with you this evening. And welcome to August, Make a Will Month. I am your host. So we welcome you back to Power Fridays Live, where we talk about protecting your people, your purpose, and your peace of mind. I'm the author of Money Just Flew Out the Window, How to Create a Relationship with Wealth, Living from Paycheck to Paycheck, and I'm deeply committed to helping families build legacies that last. So now listen, August is a special month. It's Make a Will Month, and every year it reminds us of something powerful. A well-crafted will is one of the most meaningful gifts you can leave your loved ones. Not flashy, not complicated, just thoughtful, loving, and responsible. So today, we're going to talk about wills and why they matter and what happens if you don't have one and how you can get started with free resources that make the process simple and stress-free. These are your legacy lines. Your legacy is your love made visible. So you may ask yourself, why make a will? Now, I know talking about a will isn't exactly a Friday night party topic, but let me tell you, it's one of the most loving conversations you'll ever have with yourself. The American Heart Association says it beautifully. Make a Will Month reminds us how important it is to plan ahead, because a well-crafted will is one of the most meaningful gifts you can leave your loved one. And that's the truth. I agree 100%. A will isn't about death, it's about direction. And as I like to say, it's about controlling things from the grave, but that's a little too harsh. But it's about clarity, bringing forth clarity to your loved ones. And it's about making sure that your family isn't left guessing or struggling when that moment happens. Your family is going to be devastated when you leave this earth. But when you pass without a will, the state has the ability to step in. And let me tell you something. The state doesn't know your family. They don't know your wishes, or they don't know your heart. They follow a formula, a cold legal formula. And strangers could end up coming in and taking over, and who knows what at that point, all because a simple will wasn't created. But when you make a will, you're saying to the government or to the state, this is what I want, this is who I love, this is how I want things handled when I'm no longer here. But what happens if you don't have a will? The ActTech Foundation explains this clearly. And this resource will be available to you free online. I'll share the resources with you later. If you don't have a will, your assets are distributed according to the state law, not your personal wishes. How does that make you feel to know that your assets are going to be distributed not according to your personal wishes? That means The wrong person could end up in charge. The wrong person could inherit. Your minor children could be placed with someone you didn't choose. And your loved ones may be facing delays, court costs, stress during an already painful time. And I've seen this firsthand. I've heard stories on top of stories where families have been torn apart. Siblings are fighting, estates are drained through the state system, and all because someone didn't take at least 20 minutes or less to put their wishes on paper. A will isn't about money. That's what I want to say. A will is not about the money. It ain't about the money. It's about the love you have in your heart, the clarity and peace of mind that you want to give your family. But why put it off? I'm guilty. My child is on this earth, couple of months old human, and I say, I need to call the company to add him to my will. He was born 9 weeks ago, y'all. And I'm like, I need to call the company to add him to my will. Haven't done it yet. But just to think, why am I putting it off? We heard what happened when certain celebrities put off making their will or updating their estate plan. It's in the news. You're hearing the news, you're seeing it, reading it, just like I do. That's why it's so important to have this conversation, to make sure that things, when their life change happens, that you are bringing those documents up to date. Now, I'm going to talk about the elephant in the room on why folks avoid making a will. And according to freewill.com, these are the top reasons that they feel like you may not have enough assets. Well, I can tell you, we're going to talk about that. I'm too young. Well, we're going to talk about that too. And it feels overwhelming. I agree. It does feel overwhelming. But just look at the cost of not doing it. And let me break this down. You don't need to be wealthy. If you have anything, a car, a home, a bank account, personal belongings, you need a will. That's right. You're not too young. If you're over 18, that is, you need a plan because life's unpredictable. I just went to the hospital some time ago and notarized a document where the mother was looking to gain guardianship over their child who was in a coma. I was like devastated because that person was over 18 years old. She couldn't make certain decisions just because she was the mother. So does that make you think that it's not overwhelming anymore? Because there are free tools that can walk you through the process step by step. I'm going to be providing those free tools to you a little bit later. And if you reach out to me, those of you who are hearing this live for the first time, or if you're going back to watch the replay, please do like and subscribe to the channel for Power Fighters Live, where we're going to be giving you some free tools that are going to be able to walk you through your legacy planning step by step. I'm going to be here for you. Now, here's the good news, that you don't have to figure this out alone, because there are free resources created by trusted organizations that can help you plan your estate. I represent one of the top lawyer referral companies, and that's where I'm going to get my will done. And I will tell you, it's Legal Shield. That's where I'm going. I'm making one phone call. No, actually, I'm not even making a phone call. I'm just typing it in the computer and putting it on the app. And I'm just communicating through the computer saying, hey, I need to do this. I need to add my son to my will and keep everything else the same. Or because I have a new car now. Oh yeah, I forgot. Yes, we have a new car now. I need to, and that other car is paid off. So I need to say, hey, this is who I want to have the car that's paid off, and this is what I want to happen to the other vehicle. So there's things to do whenever there's a life change, whenever something simple as buying a car happens. I didn't even think about that until just now. I need to make sure I add all of my assets, update all of my assets to this will. There's a personal estate planning kit that's available to you for free that is going to help you organize your assets, tell you exactly what an asset is, document your wishes, protect your loved ones, and establish your legacy. And this toolkit helps you make decisions about who your beneficiaries are. And that's the benefactor. That's the person who you want to get the stuff. The beneficiary. Who do I want to get the money on my life insurance policy? Well, who do I want to get that dining room table, get the china that's very valuable? I do have some china. I need to add that to my insurance policy, my homeowners. It's because I need to go because it's worth $1,000. I need to make sure that is going to be added to my life insurance, my home insurance policy. But back to the conversation here at hand, charitable giving. Hey, do you want to give your money to the American Heart Association, the Lupus Foundation, your favorite charity? You want to leave money for the church so they can do what they need to do to redesign the dining room, maybe put your name on it, maybe put your name on a pew, buy some new pews for the church. But charitable giving is there available to you. And then just distributing your assets. You have several assets. You have whatever you can inventory in your household, those are your assets. And just general, like your end of life wishes. I can always remember going to my grandmother's bedside, and she told me, and I was a teenager, I was 16 when she left this earth, and she told me what her end of life wishes were. Make sure you take care of your younger siblings, right? Make sure you watch out after them. I remember that was her end of life wish. And of course, she could have put that in a will, but I didn't see a will when she passed on. I was young. But they explain the top reasons that you want to make a will and offer tools to help you get started. And you can put some information in the chat and just let us know. It's like, do you have a will? Do you need a will? Do you want a will? Hey, how do I get this information for free? Just let me know, because I can provide you with a guide that helps explains what happens if you don't have a will and how to direct your assets to the people and the causes that you care most about. Because trust and believe, I don't want to give my money to the state. I don't want to give my money to attorneys and state courts when I pass away. I've already identified an asset of a home that's paid off, free and clear, no mortgage. I've already created a beneficiary deed to avoid probate court for my loved ones because that was important to me. And it did come with a nominal fee, a cost. And I know that that is in place for the rest of my life. And my husband doesn't have to touch it, doesn't have to worry about it. He doesn't have to go back to the state that the house is in to clean it out or anything. He doesn't have to handle anything when I pass away because I've already said, hey, with this piece of property, this is where I want it to go. And he agreed to it. And that was the conversation, and that was that. When we put the document in place to make sure that my loved ones are going to have that piece of property when I leave this earth. Because the first 48 hours after I leave this earth is very important. The first 48 hours after losing a loved one, it is the most devastating time that you're going to have in your life, but it is going to help you navigate your grief and the logistics during this difficult time. And I've so much as to written out my obituary. It's like, what do I want to say? What do I want to be said to my family, to my friends when I leave this earth? So the resource that we can provide for you is going to help you navigate the grief and what it takes to during this hardest time after you've lost your loved one, and what to do in the first 48 hours, which is the most difficult time of grieving. And with that being said, I am going to play a short video.
Introducing Money Just Flew Out the Window by Janel Pulley. Get your copy of the book. Money Just Flew Out the Window. It shows you how to manage and build family wealth. Discover how to protect your family and your future. How to build a proper financial foundation. Discover reasons why you have been financially unstable. Why financial freedom is important. How to key into the financial liberty your fellow men who have this knowledge are enjoying. Discover ways to retain the freedom regardless of your income. Support the family without stress. And lots more. Get your copy of Money Just Flew Out the Window now.
Hi, yes, that's my shameless plug. Get your copy of Money Just Flew Out the Window, How to Create a Relationship with Wealth, Living from Paycheck to Paycheck. It is available on Amazon.com and also at moneyjustflewouttthewindow.com. For an autographed copy, you can purchase your copy there. So back to our conversation about Make a Will Month, the month of August. I'm your host, Janel Pulley, and I am super excited to have this conversation with you because your legacy lives, what you're leaving for your family, for your loved one matters. So ask yourself, what will your legacy look like? Because your legacy isn't just about money. It's about your values, your memories, your impact, your love, your story. And a will is just something that simply protects all of that. I thought it was very interesting when certain celebrities pass away and that their voice is in their estate and their voice can live on. What about your voice? How do you want your voice to live on through your children, through your loved ones? But a will simply protects, gives you the tools to protect all of that. It says, this is how I want to be remembered. This is how I want my family cared for. This is how I want my life to continue making a difference. Because we've seen it in the news recently, all of the filings that celebrities and the people who've been left behind are making for their loved one who was a celebrity. We see what happened. And we're going to have conversations about that in the future, because to hear these stories that I can't believe certain celebrities and people who were millionaires who made millions of dollars, I can't believe that they passed away without a will. It is just, it befuddles my mind. And I can't name, there's too many to name right now, and I'm going to have a whole nother segment later. You want to continue to watch Power Fridays Live each and every week. I'm going to talk about just that conversation alone later. And it's very important to make sure that you have a will, because you may not have $1 million to protect, but I want to make sure that whatever you do own, that it is protected. So we do have free estate planning resources that you're going to find in the show notes. And I would like to offer something to you to book a free legacy planning session with me. If you want to help you understand your options, especially around the final expenses when it comes to, planning what's going to happen after I leave this earth with the life insurance or even beneficiary planning, you can book this session using the link below. You can use the link. Let me make sure I put this link in the chat there for you so you can see it. And I want you to reach out to me. I want you to have this information so that you can know how to reach me. So just give me a second here. But in the meantime, go ahead and subscribe to Power Fridays Live. You know why I put my information here. Okay, there's my phone number, 404-606-6975. I want you to reach out to me. There's my email address. You can reach out to me directly to get that conversation scheduled, to get that conversation started. And definitely call me Call me, call me, call me. Call me. I can't say it. Call me. Or if you missed it, DM me the word legacy. When you're watching this video, DM the word legacy, and I'll send you the free toolkit directly. Don't wait. Don't put it off, because the cost of waiting is greater than doing it right now. Take massive action right now, because your family deserves clarity. Your family deserves having your legacy protected, because I can come up with story on top of story on top of story, because I had an aunt who we had the power of attorney in place, and my cousin passed away before she did. And so then it goes to the contingent person. Things happen. We don't know what God is going to do and why he does what he does, but we know God does miraculous and wonderful things, and he doesn't make mistakes. So when I think about, the will, well, I called up the attorney. The attorney says, oh, yes, when you go to probate, when you probate her estate, I'll be happy to produce the will. So I'm like, are we going to have a will reading? When my aunt passed away, and the attorney was like, I've got to produce it to the court system. And I was like, you're not going to have a will reading for the family to know what her final wishes were? That attorney was going to have to get summoned from the state court to produce the will. And I was like, wow, that's how this game is played. And I talked to some people earlier this week. When you're in the system, when you're in the probate, we don't have instructions on what probate does and how probate operates. I'm not an attorney, and we just figure it out as we go along. When we are in that situation, I spoke with several people. They're like, oh yeah, it's something to figure out. There's not a blueprint for how to operate in probate court and what we need to do and what we need to know prior to not having a will, or prior to, the will is, present that to probate and then your asset to be probated. Well, there are ways to avoid probate court, and an attorney can tell you what those ways are. They know the ways to do it. And I am not an attorney, so I want to let you know I'm not an attorney. I'm not a CPA. I'm not a tax advisor. This podcast conversation is for educational purposes only. You should always consult with a qualified legal and financial professionals before making any decision about your estate, about your assets. Do your due diligence. Make sure that your choices are aligned with your personal circumstances and adhere to the state laws. My role is to simply guide you, support you, help you create a plan, and help you understand your options from an insurance and legacy planning perspective. Because there's a gentleman who passed away, left the earth before and had a young daughter. She wasn't of age when he took out the policy, and he wanted to make sure that there was enough money to cover his home if he were to pass away, so that his daughter could stay in the home. As the conversation goes, as the insurance agent was sharing the story, he didn't know the man had passed away. He didn't know that he should be making a claim with the insurance company and ensure that this check went to his daughter. She did get the money. He was able to make the claim later after he realized all of this. But it was so sad to know that she lost the house in the process of him not knowing that the man had passed away. So what if we ask ourselves, what if, I just say, what if this man had it in black and white, or gave the information to his daughter, or gave an envelope to his daughter to say, baby, if something were to happen to me, make sure you call this man, give him his business card, make sure you're put in touch with this guy if something were to happen to me, if I were no longer here. What difference would that have made in that young lady's life? To say, hey, baby, if something happens to me, here's the person to call. Call the insurance person, because that would be the first call I would want to get. That's the first call I have gotten when someone's passed away. It's like, I'm the person's insurance agent. So therefore, this is the information you need to put a claim in to get that check. One friend of mine, we covered, had proper coverage, and sometimes, and this is my experience firsthand, we signed over the insurance check or the ability for the funeral company to get paid, the funeral home to receive their payment, and then the balance of that check was sent to the beneficiary on the policy. And sometimes there could be money left over, just depends on how much you get, but there is anywhere from $1,000 you can get life insurance, from a minimum of $1,000, or whatever you think that need may be. After my dad passed away some years ago, the first thing I wanted to do with my husband was to go to the funeral home here in our neighborhood, in not far from where we live, and just find out, like, how much would it cost to put me in the ground, or how much would it cost to have me cremated, or how much would it cost to put my body in a mausoleum for the rest of my life, or a crypt, whatever you want to call it. But what does that cost? What is the cost of that? And nowadays, since COVID happened, they were like, "Oh yeah, you can't rent a you can't rent anything anymore. You can't rent a casket. You have to buy the casket, and the casket goes into the place where they have you cremated. It goes in with the body." And I was like, "Really?" I said, "Well, when I was working with this other funeral home people, they said they put the body on a tray and it goes in. But with that situation, we only had a memorial service. We didn't have a funeral. But if you choose to have a funeral when you choose the cremation and you want to show the body, then the casket that they're in remains with the body until the end of cremation with this company. They can't change out the insides of it anymore due to COVID." And I was like, "Oh wow, just those little things we were able to find out." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know. I'm an insurance agent. I didn't know." But there's so much we don't know until we are in that situation and we have to make those decisions. So I said, "Well, we want to make the decisions now." And I said, "This is how I want my body handled. This is how I want things to be handled when I leave this earth." Now, if your loved one is not in agreement with that, it may not happen the way that you want. But that's the purpose of a will. You want to put it down, write it down, tell them, "Hey, this is what I want. This is how I want it." Like I said, my role is to simply guide you, support you, and help you understand your options from an insurance and legal legacy planning perspective, and encourage you to make those kind of choices like, "Hey, let me head up to this funeral home and see how they do things." And with that, I know this is a lot to think about, and it's important that you do take the time to think about it. It's important that you take a moment to sit back and write your thoughts down about what you want and how you want it. So when you go appear before an attorney or call them on the phone, and you can just read off from your paper and say, "Hey, this is what I want. This is how I want it." I have another free resource for you that basically gives you all the things that you need at the time of thinking about your final wishes. And I'll be happy to send you a document with that information. So just DM me, Legacy, send me a message, call me directly. My phone number is there, or email me if you choose to email me. So just let me know. I'm here to help your family plan and have a better plan for their future. And with that, I thank you so much for spending this time with me this evening. I know you could have been anywhere. I thank you for caring about your family's future. And I thank you, most importantly, for taking steps toward building a legacy that lasts. This is your legacy. And I'm your friendly life insurance agent, just reminding you that your legacy is your love made visible. Protect it, honor it, and pass it on. So that's all for me right now. I thank you so much for joining me today. And for today's episode. I would like for you to make sure you check the show notes for all your free resources, or DM me Legacy, or book your session if you're ready to take the next step. Until next time, take care of yourself, take care of your people, and keep building that legacy, because we want you to be, do, and have the greatness that you desire, because the greatness is in you. Take care, and God bless everyone. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in to Power Fridays Live. Please like and subscribe.